Okay, good afternoon to all of you. So, in the last lecture, we discussed some of uh, basically the product topology, different bases of for that, and particularly when I take R cross R, what is the basis? And then we discussed sub bases for the product topology. So they are basically the vertical open strips and horizontal open strips. The collection of all those strips is this collection, and that forms a sub base of x cross y. So basically in R2, if I take all open vertical strips and horizontal strips, then it will cover whole R2 space or whole xy plane. Union of all those strips is a R2 space. So therefore it is a sub base, and in fact the topology which it generates is the product topology. So that is what we discuss at the end of the lecture. Now today I want to discuss regarding the continuous function. So let me define what is meaning of continuous function in topology. So if I have two topological spaces, let X and Y be two topological spaces. So whenever we call X and Y are two topological spaces, that means there is some topology on X. We call it topology on X, and so basically there exists some topology on X, and there exists some topology on the side Y. So that is meaning of this assumption that X and Y are topological spaces. So whenever tau X, tau Y, whenever I use, that means tau X is a topology on X, tau Y is a topology on Y. So now I am taking a function from topological space to topological space Y. Be a map, be a function. So we say that f is continuous if for every open set in Y, the set uh, inverse image of V under this map is open in X. So in other words, f is continuous if for all open set V in Y, f inverse V is open. Open set means basically open subset of Y. Of X. So using diagram also we can see this. So if I have the set X, the set Y, and I have a function f. So what is meaning of the f is continuous? So whenever I take open set V in Y, its inverse image f inverse v is a subset of X. So f inverse v is open in X. If that happens for every v, then we say that this function is continuous, right? So let us discuss its relation with respect to the real analysis. So in real analysis, we know that a function is continuous if it satisfies the epsilon delta definition. So let's start with this remark. So if I take some simple function f from R to R, so I'm going with a little bit pace, but whenever you have doubt, you can unmute your mic and ask question. So f is a function from R to R. So if we take a belongs to R and I take some positive epsilon. So I'm taking a point. So here function is R to R. So I'm taking y equal to R and x equal to R. And I'm taking some point A in the codomain. So this R is basically codomain I'm taking. So let an open set around this point A. So in particular, I can take that open set because now I have R, so I don't have this two-dimensional situation. Actually, this is the situation in R2. So if I take x equal to R, I should take a line instead of two dimension. So if I take any open interval around the point f of A, so I'm taking basically f of A. So this is a real line. Here is my point f of A. I'm taking a interval around this point f of A minus epsilon to f of A plus epsilon. Epsilon is a positive number. So now I have a codomain which is a domain which is also R. This is my function. So what I have here is I have point A because A maps to f of A. So we know that this is VBN open set in R. So if my function f from R to R is continuous with respect to the above definition, then what it says that whenever V is open in the codomain, f inverse V is open in X. So that means f inverse of V is open in X. What is X here? X I am taking R because my function is from real line to real line. So if I have a set which is open in R, that means what? And we also know that A belongs to that, right? So here A belongs to f inverse V and f inverse V is open in R. So what we can say, if I have a point in an open set in R, then there is a basis element. So what are the basis element on the real line? Yes,
Open interval.
open intervals, right?
Open intervals.
Correct. So we will get an open interval around the point A. So therefore there exists an open interval, say open interval CD, such that A belongs to C comma D, which is contained in F inverse V, right? And whenever A belongs to open interval, I can always find an epsilon neighborhood of A inside this interval, right? So therefore there exists delta greater than 0 such that A belongs to A minus delta to A plus delta, which is contained in C comma D, which is contained in F inverse V, right? If A is contained in open interval AB, then I can always find a delta so that this is contained in this, right? Symmetric interval is contained in that particular interval. So such a delta we can always find. So now we are done, because what this says is, therefore we started with epsilon. For every epsilon greater than 0, there exists delta greater than 0 such that what we'll get, whenever A belongs to whenever x belongs to A minus delta to A plus delta, I will get f of x belongs to f f of x belongs to V. And what is V? V is by definition fa minus epsilon to fa plus epsilon. So what is this? We already know that this is a x tends to A, f of x is f of A in the calculus sense or the real analysis sense. So therefore f is continuous at x equal to A with respect to epsilon delta definition. So can you summarize what did we prove here?
Function to be continuous. Function will be continuous. Function will be continuous.
Yes. Yes, continuous we proved, but basically what we have started, we started with the function from real line to real line, R to R, and we assume that for every V, F inverse V is open. So that is exactly this definition of continuity. So we assume this definition of continuity. We assume that F is continuous with respect to this definition of continuity from R to R, and then we proved that F is satisfies the epsilon delta definition of continuity. So basically we proved that continuity definition in terms of open set implies continuity definition in terms of epsilon delta, and we did this for the functions from R to R, right? We verified this for the functions of from R to R. Now converse of this theorem is also true. I will not prove, you can take it as an exercise because it is very simple. So this says that the continuity definition in terms of open set is same as the continuity definition in terms of epsilon delta for the real functions from R to R. And in fact, this is true for the functions from matrix space to matrix space also, and in particular Rn to Rn. So I hope you may have seen that thing in the your course of analysis 1 because it is given in the Rudin's book also, right? So this is the motivation why we are considering the definition in terms of open sets. So now onwards we will mostly use this definition of continuity because we don't have this epsilon delta notion for the topological spaces. So every topological space we cannot measure the length because there every topological space is not a metric space, that we will learn later on. So therefore we will use throughout the course this particular definition of continuity because every topology contains open sets. So therefore this tool is very useful for the topological spaces. So now onwards, what is the continuous function? A function is continuous if inverse image of open set is open, right? So you can remember this. Inverse image of the open set in codomain is open in the domain space. So we have a particular lemma. So we know that every open set is a union of basis elements. So it will be better if we can convert this continuity condition in terms of the basis. So let B be a basis for tau y. Tau y means topology on y. So if you it is better to denote by by a map f from x to y. Now what is this y? This topology is on this space. Then a map from f from x to y is continuous if and only if for every basis element in y, the inverse image of this basis element is open in x, right? So so this condition basically means that inverse image of basis element is open in x. Which here, so this is just vaguely we are speaking. So just to remember this condition in words. So continuity means inverse image of open set is open. So we don't need to check every open set. It is enough to check only for the basic open sets. So that is what we want to prove in this lemma. So which is the trivial part? continuity implies this condition, or this condition implies continuity? Yes, Heman.
Yes, sir.
So which part is simpler?
Basis for
So did you understand what is the meaning of f is continuous?
yes, sir.
So what it says? What is the
What is this?
definition of
From a matrix space X to Y.
no, just now I defined continuous function. So inverse image of
Yes, sir. Sir, I don't know.
yeah. So just remember that it is fine. So
I don't
let
know
us
this.
so let me go back again. So what I need to check? I need to check the function. You can mute now. So I want to prove that f is continuous. So f is continuous means I need to check this condition. So this condition is in terms of open sites. So whenever I have open site in Y, I have to show inverse image of open site is open in the domain X. So whenever I have V here, I have to show f inverse V is open in X. So that is the continuous definition of continuous function. But what the other condition says, I need to check I have a basis element.
हेलो सर
Yes.
तो सर जब हम टाउ we can able to so that this element is belong to tau I, then tau I is also a topology, then this also open, so why we need to show it's open? It's
What is open?
because we taking the inverse image of an open set, na tau I,
Yes. Yes.
and tau I is a topology on Y.
Tau y is a topology on Y. Yes, that is true.
And its inverse inverse is belong to tau X, if you can, so then tau X is also topology on X.
Yes.
Then every element is open in tau X.
Which element you are talking? You are taking V or B?
any element from tau I, जिसका हम इनवर्स ले रहे हैं वो.
See, here I am taking only basis elements. And in the definition of continuity, I am taking only open sets. Inverse image of only open sets. Now you tell me what is the relation between open set and basis element.
Yes sir, pardon please.
What is the relation between basis element and the open set in the topology?
So open sets are the basis of topology, sir.
Open sets are
Basis of topology.
नहीं basis और topology से क्या relation है? What is the relation of basis?
हाँ
If I have a basis, can I have a topology?
हाँ, उससे जनरेटर बना सकते सर.
हाँ जनरेट करेगा. कैसे करेगा?
उनका यूनियन सर वो.
यूनियन लेके. तो यूनियन लेके क्या मिलेगा?
वो एंटायर एक्ट में लेगा.
नहीं जो we are saying tau b is union b alpha sorry b alpha belongs to b. So what is this element? These are the elements of topology.
Yes,
So
sir. Element set.
टोपोलॉजी के एलिमेंट को क्या कहते हैं?
Open set.
Open sets. So basically union of basis elements are open, right? So all open sets are union of basis elements, and each in particular each basis element is open. ठीक है? तो इसका यूज करके अभी क्या बोल सकते हो? इससे ये इम्प्लाई करेगा कि इससे ये इम्प्लाई करेगा?
सर ये नीचे वाला ऊपर को इम्प्लाई कर देगा।
हाँ, तो एक्चुअली तो दोनों इक्विवेलेंट हमें प्रूव करना है। So in proof, basically what we want to show that for every f is continuous means for every y in tau y implies f inverse v belongs to tau x. This is first thing, f is continuous, and we want to show this is equivalent to for every basis element in y, f inverse b is open in x. So this basically we want to prove. So which part is simple?
Second one, I guess.
Which one? So let us see this part. If I assume this definition, so can I say that second definition follow from the first definition? So it follows because we know that every basis element is open, right? So let us call this first condition, second condition. So if one holds, then we take V to be the basis element because every basis is open set. So this gives f inverse B is open in X, right? So just what we are using here is we are using basis elements. Each basis element is open set. So whenever you have you come across this result, you think about intervals. So we know that every open interval is open set. So that is exactly this result in the real analysis, right? So this part is easy now. So this says two follows. Now conversely, if I assume two follows, so now how can I go from a basis element to open set?
Its union of basis element is open.
Exactly. So this basically we want to use. So, but what will be B alpha? So for that we need to do some minor observation. So if two holds, so that means inverse image of every basis element is open. So now take any element which is open set in Y, right? So since V is open set in Y, then that means for each element Y in V, how can I get a basis element from a open set? For every point I get a basis element. So there exists a by in by, so that y belongs to by, which is a subset of V. So can anyone say what I am using here? Which property?
basis.
open set का property.
It is
तो
an open
basis
set
में जो
property, but yes, so this is coming from the definition of basis, first or second property.
First property.
uh, first.
Yes, so that is first property. What is the first property? That if you take any element x in the set X, there is always a basis element which contains that point. But here, as you said, it doesn't give this B belongs to V. So therefore, this is actually coming from the definition of open set. Okay, so I did mistake, but this is actually coming from the definition of open set. So I don't know when I discussed this particular thing. Okay, so if you remember when we discussed tau b, how did we define tau b? Tau b, we defined the set of all subsets of X such that for every X in X there exists B in B such that X belongs to B contained in U. Right, so this is the, and this U is what? U is an open set because it is element of the topology. And then we shown that this is exactly union B alpha. B alpha belongs to B. So this is exactly we are using here. For every open set U and a point contained in that, sorry, this is U. For every X in U, there exists basis element such that it is contained. So it is same as U is a subset of R. If for every X in U there exists open interval such that X is an open interval contained in U. Right, so this is what basically we are using here.
So there we use X belongs to X, means in our previous definition that we defined earlier.
No, this is X belongs to U actually. So just correct, I may have written somewhere wrong, but you
Okay.
can see this, it is given in book also. Okay, so there should be U here. So only those sets are open which satisfy this property. So that way, if you take B to be the collection of open intervals, then tau B will be exactly the collection of open subsets of R. So now this thing is coming from this definition of the topology generated by basis. And then what we'll get is this will give singleton Y is contained in By contained in V. Therefore, now you take union. And then we know this is also V, right? This is the set of all singletons in V. Its union is V. So therefore we get V equal to, this is V, this is V. So this set also is V because of sandwich theorem. Sandwich theorem in set theory. So basically A is subset of B is subset of C, and A and C are same, then that A and C equals B. This is By, B subscript Y. Right, so this we have also observed. So basically V I can write as a union of By. And now it is simple. Now I know that inverse image of V's element is open, and then I know that this V is union of By. So therefore, what is F inverse V? F inverse V is F inverse union By. Y belongs to V, and then we know that F inverse preserves the union. So this is a set theory exercise. So if you remember, one of such exercise we have done for the function f. So f is a function whether f union b is equal to fa union fb, and whether f of a intersection b is fa union fa intersection f of b. So same way you can check this, that if I have a f inverse function, then if I apply it on arbitrary union, then that equals union of f inverse of those sets. And then what we know inverse image of V's element is open, and then this is the arbitrary union of open sets. So this also belongs to tau x, because tau x is a topology. So let us go back and check whether we proved what is required or not. So we are proving second implies first. So second means for every basis element f inverse b is open. Now I have to prove first. So that means I have to start with open set V, and then I have to show f inverse V is open. So I started with open set V, and since V is open set, it satisfies this property by the basis, by the topology generated by basis, and then using this we have shown that I can write V as a union of basis elements, and then I will use the first. First says inverse image of basis element is open, so we get inverse image of union of basis element is union of f inverse by, and f inverse basis element is open from first. So this is open set, and we have union of open sets. So union of open set is always open in the topology. So therefore f inverse v, which is this union of open set, is also open. So therefore, so what is this property? First or second? First. So using 2 we proved 1. So now what is the benefit? If I have a function which I want to check whether it is continuous or not, instead of checking for the open sets, I will check it only for the basis elements, because there are many open sets, but there are less basis elements. We know that B is always a subset of tau B. So instead of checking every open set, we will check on the subfamily this condition for the continuity. So therefore this result is important. So this is regarding some basic properties of continuous function. So now I think, any doubt in this thing?
I'll read after. If I get doubt, I'll ask you.
Okay. Okay, so meanwhile, we used one property, so that let me give as an exercise. So if f is a function, then prove that f inverse of union alpha u, let us say a alpha, is union alpha f inverse a alpha. So this, so what is a alpha? Alpha belong, a alpha is a subset of the codomain, right? Because we are discussing f inverse function. So this we already used. So this is just a simple exercise in the set theory and functions. So first you can try to prove this for two sets. So f inverse a union b is f inverse a union f inverse b. First try to prove this, and then once you prove this, then the same will give the other proof. Okay, so okay, now this is regarding continuity. Now what about the, so so far we have focused only on the topology, several example, and how to construct the different examples of topology. So basically we spent this first 13-14 lectures only to understand what are the open sets, open subset of different general set X. If X is any set, then what are the open subsets of X? So we focused on this question so far. So now once we know the what are the open sets, we can discuss continuity, because continuity definition is in terms of open sets. So that is the first thing which I discussed today. The second definition I want to discuss is closed sets. What is definition of closed set? You already know. You already know that a set is closed if it is a complement of the open set. The same definition works here. A subset A of a topological space X if its complement X minus A is open in X. So A minus A is open in X. That means in terms of topology, X minus A belongs to tau X. Right? So sometimes X minus A we will use different notation. I use sometimes a complement also. So complement means set theory complement. So the first example we already know, in closed intervals are closed in R. So the set closed interval AB is closed subset of R with respect to the standard topology on R. Why? Because its complement, we have to check it is open. So what is the complement? Complement is the open interval minus infinity to a union b to infinity. So and this we know this is open set in R. With respect to standard topology. Right? Okay. So what are the open sets in cofinite topology? No, sorry, closed sets in cofinite topology. What is cofinite topology?
The set's complement is finite or entire.
Finite or entire set. So now you can tell me what are the, so basically you know open sets there. So their complement are closed sets. So what are the closed sets? So you just take that X and all finite subsets of X are closed. So in the cofinite topology on X, the set X and all finite subsets of X are closed because its complements are open. Finite sets complement is open. Finite complement of X is open. So therefore X and finite sets subsets of X are closed. So therefore this topology is also known as finite closed topology that I read in some book. I don't know it is standard terminology or not. What about discrete topology?
Sir, all finite subset of X, how they are closed means every finite subset.
So if I take X equal to n, what is open set? Is it open set? Is U open in
Yes, yes.
cofinite topology on n? So what is then U complement is closed. So what is complement? 1, 2, 3, 4.
But sir, every ये finite थोड़ी है.
V finite नहीं है क्या?
5 up to
U complement.
But sir, हमें तो subset finite लेना ना, and all finite subset of X.
तो ये finite ही है ना? So you take finite set, you take its complement. Its complement will be infinite set.
Yes, sir.
Then infinite set is open in n. You take any other example if you have any doubt. So let me take V is equal to 1, 5, 7, 8. So is V closed in cofinite topology on N?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Close.
It's closed, right? Because its complement
Open.
is open by the definition itself. So this is another example. Okay, and then what is the yeah, so next question is discrete topology. So let me give it as an exercise because I think the time is over. So what are closed sets in the discrete topology and lower limit topology?
में तो दो ही होगा क्योंकि सारा तो ओपन ही है, तो सिर्फ फाई और पावर सेट ऑफ एक्स ही आएगा।
वो भी तो ओपन है।
ओपन, अच्छा ओपन तो है।
So every subset is open. So its complement is also open. So every set has complement is also subset of X. So every set complement is also open. So therefore every set is also closed. So think about this. We will discuss in next lecture.